I'm going to tell you something about boating on the East Coast and you tell me if you think it's fact or fiction. Number one, you can launch at one ramp in the morning and come back 6 hours later to find the dock several feet higher or lower because of the tide. Welcome to Current Conversations, where we talk about confidence, knowledge, and life on the water. I'm your host, Courtney Ann. Each week, we'll share practical boating tips, inspiring stories, and conversations with people who help make our boating community stronger. Whether you're at the helm every weekend or just getting started, we're glad you're here. This is Current Conversations. Today's topic is one that can make even the most experienced boater sweat: the boat ramp. Everybody's got a story. Whether you've launched 100 times or preparing for your very first trip, we've seen it all. The person loading the coolers at the ramp, the boat tidying up the loading zone for a half hour, the captain trying to back his boat down the ramp while everyone's watching. The ramp etiquette isn't about being perfect. It's about making the experience safer, smoother, and less stressful for everyone. To help us break it down, from Lake Havasu, I'm joined by Renee Toff, co-owner of She Drives. We're going to compare the boating culture, share some stories, and talk about unwritten rules every boater should know. So let's get underway. Thanks for joining today, Renee. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the boating scene on Lake Havasu.
Well, hey, Courtney, thanks for having me. Super fun to talk about Lake Havasu and the boating experience. So I'm actually a California resident, but I've been spending my summers boating in Arizona for about the last 15 years. And it's funny because everyone in San Diego thinks I'm crazy. Why would you leave this beautiful place and go to the triple-digit heat during the summer? What is wrong with you? And the thing that I keep telling them is Lake Havasu and the Parker Strip, which is near Lake Havasu, it's just a vibe and it's enjoyable. And being out there, it's just the fresh water scene, the people, the community. That's why I like it. And Lake Havasu is basically built around performance boating. So it's just people that want to get on the water, they want to leave their stresses behind and have a good time. And the community behind it is just amazing. You have a lot of like-minded people that have the same passion for boating.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how does the boating culture in Havasu differ from anywhere else you've seen, like California?
The boating culture for Havasu, I like to call it, it's kind of like Orange County of California came into Havasu, and it's especially it's a destination town, so you get a lot of weekenders that come in. So the culture is a little flashy, but he's there to have fun, but at the same time, you know, there's a lot of, who has the biggest boat, fastest boat type of culture. I know that's kind of something that's familiar throughout the United States because, everyone wants to have the best and
The biggest and fastest.
yeah, on the waterway. Havasu is definitely known for that, opposed to a lot of other places.
Okay. Yeah, I know we deal with that here. I
Yeah.
feel like every summer especially this summer, there's so many new boats on the water, and I feel
Yeah.
like everybody's trying to one up the next
Yeah.
guy. And I'm like,
Oh, it's so true.
there's always going to be somebody bigger and faster.
Always. Yeah. And it's funny because every year it's like the hot new couple, boats come out, and that's the hot one for the summer. And then the next summer it's, the new guy. So to your point, it's hard to keep up with that. So
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys have a lot of like the wild colors with the boats out there? I know here we're starting to see like the bright green, the bright
Mhm.
blue, where back growing up, boats were primarily like white with like a splash of teal or
Yep.
the old school pink, back like the 80s
That's my
colors, I
favorite,
call
the
them.
80s colors, the teal
Yeah.
and the hot pink.
Hmm.
Still love those colors. Yeah, I think nowadays, the last probably 4 to 5 years, a lot of the colors, the gel coat, on the West Coast, gel coat's pretty popular opposed to paint. So we are
Right.
getting a lot of the wild colors, which are really pretty. And then I've also noticed that there's a lot of I forgot the name for it, but it's where they add the sparkles onto the boats,
Oh,
like
yeah. So in
the
the sun,
fishing
they
boats.
glisten.
Uh-huh, that's really popular too.
Okay. Yeah, I have seen I just saw one last weekend actually
Mhm.
that had it. And I'm not sure if they can do that in a wrap or not, because we see a lot of wrapped boats
Oh,
out
you
here on the
do?
Chesapeake, yeah,
Okay.
and I think people are leaning more towards that because, A, they help protect the boat, and
Mhm.
then B, if they wanna change their boat up in a couple years, they
Yeah.
can do that as well. It's
Yeah.
for much cheaper than painting the boat.
Exactly. I was just gonna say the cost effectiveness of it. Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense.
So cool. What is the biggest mistake you've seen people make at the boat ramp?
The biggest mistake I've seen is a lot of people don't know boating etiquette. They don't.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the
Or common
preparations ahead of
courtesy.
time and the courtesy, you know? You don't go and get on the road without preparing in your car, so it kind of is the same at the launch ramp. You wanna be able to have everything loaded as much as you can and then get on the ramp and, quickly get the job done. Launch your boat, get it in the water, get your trailer moving so there's a flow because sometimes, especially holiday weekends, it can get really busy and people, I mean, nowadays we're all impatient because everything just happens so fast for
So
us. The
fast.
internet's faster, all of that. So people, we just need to be mindful of others and get moving.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong. We're not saying people need to rush, but
No.
if you have all your things together, your ducks in a row,
Mhm.
then you should be able to get in and out of the ramp in a timely
Yeah,
fashion. You use the
exactly.
loading zone to load your coolers, any of your boat bags for the day,
Mhm.
take your straps off, put your lines and fenders on. Don't tie up the ramp for those things. So,
Exactly.
then that way once you have all that completed, then you pull up into the ramp and back down.
Mhm.
So it should go much faster for
Yeah,
everybody and
exactly. And of
keep the
course,
flow of the ramp.
yeah, there's, boating days you can have good boating days and you can have bad boating days, and so there's
Sure.
times we've all been at the ramp and our boat doesn't start and we're holding people
Right.
up. And so I understand that, but it gets to a point after a little while, "Hey, boat's just not starting. Let's pull it out and figure out, evaluate what's going on because 'cause we're holding up the ramp," you know?
Right. Or depending on the type of ramp, if there's a slip, like if you're at a boat ramp within a marina, maybe you can walk it back to a slip so you're out of the way and not
Yeah,
tying up the boat ramp.
that's smart. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah, I know, there's a ramp here in Delaware City. It's a once you're in the water, you can actually walk it around the side, and there's a
Okay.
nice long area where you're out of the way for people that are still launching or loading.
Oh, good.
So if you need to, you're still in the water, there's plenty of depth. So if you just wanna look things over or whatnot
Mhm.
and need a few extra minutes, you can do that to where you're out of the way for everybody.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, so and it's just things like that that I think is common courtesy where some people, they don't. They just take up the ramp and it's now you're down one less ramp. At that
Mhm.
particular marina, or boat ramp, there's 3 ramps. So if one person's tying that up because they can't get their boat running, well, now there's only 2 for
2.
everybody else.
Yeah.
And I don't know for you, but it seems like the smaller the boat, the more problems or the longer it takes for people to load their boat. And I'm like,
Yeah. Do you guys at your launch ramp, do you have people that are there helping at the docks when people come up at the courtesy docks to help tie off or anything?
so if you're in a marina, sometimes there'll be a
Okay.
designated person like the marina where my dad keeps his boat. There is always at least one person there to help.
Mhm.
And that's typically only on like Saturday and Sundays. Fridays, depending on the time of day, you might get someone out there to help you.
Okay.
Now at the public boat ramps, there's never anybody
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But generally the marinas, there will be somebody there to help you,
Okay.
which
Yeah, ours.
is
Okay.
great. It just helps with flow. And if you're by yourself,
Mhm.
it just definitely helps you get in quicker so you're not backing in, getting in and out of your truck just taking that much longer.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, ours, we don't necessarily have deckhands, but there is someone, especially on the busy weekends. We have 6 launch ramp lanes, so there's someone that's always standing there saying, "Hey, okay, this lane's open," and it helps get everyone moving quickly,
Right.
so which is good. But I think having deckhands right on the marina, or on the dock hands would be it's beneficial to have.
Absolutely. Just for the purpose of, hey, this lane's open, you can go. Cause I mean, they have people in stores for the checkout on busy
Hmm.
weekends telling people where to go because people get busy chit chatting or this and that, and
Yeah.
they're not paying attention.
It's true. I mean, it's exciting. You're getting ready to launch the boat, get all your supplies for the day. You don't
Right.
think about those things sometimes. So I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Continuing on that conversation, what
And
all should boaters have completed before they enter the launch lane?
oh, before they should start backing down the ramp, typically, like for my program, once everybody's loaded on the boat, coolers, bags, I mean, you want the majority of that stuff in the prep zone. But when it gets to getting ready to back up, I go and do a walkthrough around the whole entire boat to make sure the straps in the back are undone.
Mhm.
I also make sure all the drain plugs, I have 3 of them, everything's good.
Oh, you have 3, okay.
Yeah, and then also the strap on the bow, I have 2 of them, and one is kind of underneath the boat that
Mhm.
I undo ahead of time because goes into the water pretty deep. So, I make sure all of the everything's ready to go, and then the same thing that I do at the same time is I evaluate the launch ramp. I make sure everything's clear, everything looks good. I look to see if somebody's ready to pull out, if someone's there, if it's clear, and then I jump in the car and put it in reverse, take a deep breath to relax and go.
And go, yeah.
Yeah.
So for we pretty much have the same routine,
Mhm.
taking the straps off, making sure the plug's in. The only thing for our winch strap,
Mhm.
usually we take it off, but if we are on a steep ramp and
Yeah.
it's low tide, we will leave it on until we get about halfway down, three
Yeah.
quarters of the way down the ramp, and then
Mhm.
we'll hop out and take it off.
Do you have
We have
2?
we do. We have a chain
Oh,
and that's just I mean, it's a bunk trailer, so more than likely the boat's not gonna go anywhere,
yeah.
but it's more of just kind of like an extra precaution because 'cause we've seen plenty
Right.
of people with a roller trailer that they undo it too soon and then off the boat
Yeah.
goes and ends up on the ramp, and that's not a good
Yeah.
day.
It's true.
Um
The steep launch ramp for sure. Ours isn't very steep, so that's why I'm comfortable with it. But I do have a funny story was the pontoon boat that I have, the front winch is a little sun faded. Well, I was at a steep launch ramp over the holiday weekend, Memorial weekend, and
mhm.
I was just getting down to the bottom of it where the trailer started hitting the water and the strap snapped. We just heard a big clunk and we're like, "Oh, what was that?" And luckily, we were at the bottom of the hill. The boat was stayed on the trailer, good, but it was just like, "Okay, well, this is something to consider. How are we going to get this boat back on the trailer or secured when we go to bring it back up the launch ramp?" And so one thing I learned from that was always carry ratchet straps in your car.
Mm.
And I ended up having a couple and we ratchet strapped it down and it helped and we were able to safely get it out when we were done with our boating day. But that was something that I learned like that you never know.
Yeah, that's with
Mm.
boats, it's like anything can happen,
Yeah.
especially the most unexpected things can happen, and it
Oh
can
yeah.
happen at any time
Oh
or
yeah.
the most
And
inconvenient time.
And you know what's unexpected too that day was we pulled up in the marina to retrieve the car and there were 45 people lined up watching people put their boats back on the trailer. And I guess there is some social media page that was filming it and they had bull horns just loud and crazy.
And
And I'm
being
just sitting there going,
obnoxious.
okay, so we have to ratchet strap this boat onto the trailer and these people are going to criticize us. So
Right.
luckily, it's all about staying calm. When
Mhm.
I backed up the car, I pulled the ratchet strap out, but I, like, organized it in my hand, and I turned my back towards those people, and then we put the ratchet strap on the boat, but we were blocking it so they couldn't see,
They couldn't
and
see.
then we're able to get it out, but we were just like, "Woo! This is not the day to have this problem."
Right.
And then the whole time driving up, I was just like, "Okay, slow, like, please don't snap, and if it snaps, I'm gonna hit it in reverse and back it into the water." case the boat comes off. I don't think the boat will, but you never know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's a lot of weight back there, so it's kinda like
Mhm. Yeah.
I just know I was telling my dad the other day when we pull his boat out, and he keeps it on a lift primarily, but
Mhm.
we'll bring it home a couple times throughout the season to just give it that extra good cleaning and whatnot. So typically, we'll walk it onto the trailer and then I'll hop in the truck while he's putting the winch strap on and everything. So
Yeah.
once I'm in the truck, I'm the one that's pulling it out. And it's even though I have my foot on the brake, I always hit the e brake because I'm like, I'm just petrified of that thing going backwards, which
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of weight behind us. So it's like,
Huh. It's
and then
true.
it's okay, I release the e brake, my foot's still on the brake, and then I put it in drive. And it's like, I
Mhm.
want to like let my foot off and like hit
I
the
do
gas,
that too.
but
I've learned to do the transition just to kinda,
that's,
like, yeah, because
yeah,
some
that's,
cars don't have, like, my Yukon has it to where it has hill assist, which is very helpful, but a lot
hmm.
of cars don't have that, and it's just nice just to have that transition getting out for sure. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. His
Mhm.
truck does have the hill assist, so I'm more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I used to do that too. I'm like, especially
Mhm.
when I mean, if I'm on a steep incline ramp with my boat, I'll do that transition and
Uh-huh. Yeah.
just
Or
because I'm
the
like,
do you
I've
ever
seen these boat fails videos online where the truck and trailer and they're in the water and it's like people are always like, how does that happen? I'm like, things happen.
things do happen. There's a lot going on, and it's funny because I do, and I swear every time I'm like, "Okay, park, emergency brake. Okay, like,
Hmm.
we're safe to get out," but it's like that checklist you do because when you're so used to doing it so much, like, it's like leaving your straightener on at the house. Was that
Yeah.
today that I left it on? Or,
Right.
yesterday? Like, it's that same you have to, like, really double check.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so when I see those and everybody's like, "Oh my god, how does that happen?" I'm like, "Look, I don't judge because there
Mm,
is so much going on." Just like when you're talking about how there's 40 people at the ramp,
yeah.
bullhorns, and that is
Oh,
so distracting, and if you're not a
mhm.
person that can just mentally block that out,
Yeah,
that can cause you to miss a step, if that'll rattle somebody and, that could cause somebody to forget putting the e-brake in and there goes their truck and trailer right into the
yeah,
ramp.
and that's what like, I left my window rolled up on that side because I knew if I hear anyone say anything, it just gets to your head and anxiety
Mhm.
starts creeping up, and you just gotta make the smart decision. They're not there. I
Right.
have a job to do. I am backing this trailer up.
Yeah, and all those hecklers, like, they're on the sidelines, guaranteed
Uh,
99% of them probably have no idea how to back a trailer up.
I
They don't
know.
own a boat, which is why they're there
Uh-huh.
heckling everybody.
Yep.
It's
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
That's the best part about it? And I wish people would realize that when they pull up and see all that, like, "Look, these people don't
Yeah,
even know half of what you
I
know."
know.
Yeah.
Exactly, it's
But the
just
bullhorns,
crazy.
that kind of was like, "Come on, guys. You can
I
heckle and
know.
yell," but the bullhorns were very, very obnoxious.
Right, that's a little bit extreme.
Mhm. It was a little too much.
Yeah, that's when I would, like, wanna have a train horn on my vehicle and just
Yeah.
drown them out.
Right.
Be like, "I raise you your bullhorn."
Yeah. "What you got now?"
Right, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that I could have used that train horn the other day. I was driving through the channel and this guy was in front of me and he just wasn't holding his line. He was just like looking at things and just very distracted and his boat was just like floating a lot and I wanted to pass him at one point and I couldn't and I was like, "Man, if I just had like a horn just to, be like I almost revved the engine in neutral just to be like, "Hey, I'm behind you, dude."
A quick thank you to today's sponsor, She Drives. If you're a woman who's always wanted to feel more confident at the helm, She Drives is an incredible community with boating education, support, and on the water training from female captains. I'll leave the link in the comments below so you can check it out. Some people just have no situational awareness, and that's very frustrating.
That is.
Which
Yeah.
again takes us back to the boat ramp and, common courtesy and the etiquette, like the proper use of the loading and unloading zone.
Mhm.
It's
Exactly.
so what would you say are some examples that people should be doing in those areas?
I mean, to me, have one car with your trailer in the loading zone. Like, have your friends prepare if they're meeting you ahead of time. Don't have your friends pull up in their random cars to unload right there. That
Right.
kind of fills things up. Don't one thing is don't, fight with anyone if you're having a stressful day. At the end of the day, you see a lot of that stuff. You're just doing on the staging area on the way down, doing your quick prep on your tie downs, checking your, drain plugs and dock lines and making sure all your gear's there. Yeah, just not blocking it and socializing and holding it up. Get what you
I
need
agree.
going
Uh,
and get your
s
car to launch. Like, you wanna get on the water too.
Right, and
Yeah.
especially when you're pulling out of the ramp and going to unload the boat, take your lines and fenders off. We see a lot of people, they'll pull out of the ramp and they'll pull up and then just stop. So
Yeah.
then the next person that needs to back their trailer down can't.
Mhm. Yeah.
And we're like, "Hey, can you please pull up or, like, pull over there? Go to the
Right.
back of the parking lot or,
Yes.
pull down the road further." And we're just like, "What are you thinking?" Problem is they're not thinking,
No.
or they're coming back half drunk, which, is a whole nother conversation, but
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why there's no common courtesy anymore. And if you do say something to the people, no matter how nice you are about it, they want to look at you with a glare or they want to say something snarky back to you, which
Mhm.
is only going to fuel the fight. And it's just like, hey, buddy, all I'm trying to do is get my boat out of the water too.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's a big frustration too.
It really is. And I wish that people could be educated more when they buy a boat on these types of things.
Agreed. You have
Mhm.
to take and pass a test and get hours in a car before you can get a driver's license. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure why that's not the same with a boat.
Mhm.
We
I
call
agree.
people credit card captains because anybody with a credit card can
Yeah.
can go buy a boat.
It's so true. And yeah, they get on the water and, it's their first day, don't do any of the research. And, it can be scary, it can be dangerous for other boaters, and it can be dangerous for them. And honestly, it makes life a lot easier if you knew it for yourself. They're making it more
Absolutely.
challenging by not learning this type of stuff. So,
For sure. So I thought we would take a little break from the boat ramp etiquette and
sure.
play a little segment called Fact or Fiction, if you'd like.
Ooh, I love games.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you something about boating on the East Coast and you tell me if you think it's fact or fiction. Number one, you can launch at one ramp in the morning and come back 6 hours later to find the dock several feet higher or lower because of the tide.
That will be fact.
Yep,
Hmm.
it's very true.
Yeah.
We can have some pretty big swings in tide
Okay.
over here, and it gets even worse with like a full moon, full or new
Okay.
moon.
Do you guys find that, because I know sometimes there's the 2 tides in one day, so do you find that sometimes it'll fluctuate back and you go to the original launch ramp?
It
Or is it common that it's always going or
it depends on, I think, the wind because the wind can keep the tide out and it'll
mhm,
never come back in, like, if
uh,
it's blowing really hard.
mhm,
So, you can put in at low tide and you're supposed to come back at high tide. Well, because of the wind just kept it out all day and it never came
uh,
back in.
okay. I
So
had an
or it could be vice
experience with
versa.
that in San Diego when the tide went
Really?
out, my boat almost got beached. We're like, "We gotta get out of here, we forgot about the tide." 'Cause when
Yeah.
you're boating at the lake all the time, you don't think about that, and then you go down to the bay, and it's like, you have to really take into consideration, the environment.
Right, and I think that's what a lot of people forget, like, if they're used to boating in their, like, home port and
Mhm,
around those waters, they're used to that one type of boating, and then if they go somewhere else, it's a completely different type of boating as far as, like, tides, currents, and that type of thing, so it's like, you've really gotta do your research if you're gonna go boating somewhere else,
it's so true.
especially, if you have like, here on the bay, you don't always have to stay in the channel. You can run outside the channel. It just depends, like, once you start getting into the little creeks and rivers, then
Mhm,
you kinda gotta know where you're going if you're gonna get outside the channel. But
okay.
other than that, if you're just kinda running down the bay, then we're usually never in the channel because that's where your shipping traffic is.
Okay.
So our thought is, well, if you're gonna break down and you're in the channel and you got a big ship coming towards you,
That's scary.
that's scary, exactly, especially in the canal, in the, C&D canal. That's you're always got a tug or something, so we always are off to one side or the other. We're never directly in the middle because that's where all the big ships are.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense. That's smart.
yeah. Alright, next one. Some boat ramps have such strong currents that your boat can drift sideways before you even get it off the trailer.
Before you even get it off the trailer?
So, like, if
Um,
you're backing down the ramp,
mhm.
in the process of getting it off the trailer and it starts to go sideways.
Yeah, I would say that's act if you're
Mm,
in the water enough to where it starts pulling you.
yep. Yeah, that it can get interesting. In Delaware City, the I've seen some people get in pretty sketchy situations because they don't
Mhm.
realize how strong that current is,
Oh, yeah.
especially once you're in the water and you start to back up and the current's running one way and you're trying to go the other, but that current starts taking you. You kinda gotta give it some gas.
Yeah, in, the Parker Strip, which is below Lake Havasu, the current fluctuates, and there's sometimes where it is ripping, and I feel bad for people that their launch ramp is in the current because it's like,
Mhm.
that's a whole 'nother animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In some places, you can boat in salt water one day and in fresh water the next.
Yeah, true, absolutely.
Yep, that's very true. Especially if some people go down to the beach, if
Mhm.
they wanna boat down the beach one day and then up here the next, but you can actually boat in the all in the same day in both. We have more fresh water up here, but then the further you go south, it
Mhm.
gets, they call it brackish, but it gets pretty
Oh, okay.
salty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what is it? The Delta River too. I think that's partly fresh and then it gets into the salt as well,
okay.
similar.
Yeah. So I know there's, especially towards like the end of our summer, that salt line starts moving up further towards
Oh, it
us.
does?
And yeah, so if it's like windy and as you're running, it blows like any spray up, like your sunglasses are covered in salt. And so we always, even now, we still, when we get back, part of our routine when we get back on the lift each day, we hose off
The
the
salt.
motors and stuff just so that salt's not sitting on.
Yeah, that's smart because that
Yeah.
salt can do some damage.
Man, I know. All right, so here's a nice one. Jellyfish can keep swimmers out of the water during the summer.
Yeah, that actually is very common. There's a beach up north from us in San Diego that one summer we were there and the jellyfish were so bad that people were out of the water because it was a thing. There were so many people that were getting stung by them.
Really? And we start seeing jellyfish usually like mid to late summer
Okay.
once that salt line starts moving up.
Yeah.
And the further south you go in the summer, you'll start seeing.
Okay.
And I don't get in the water anyway,
Yeah.
but
Have you been
I
stung by jellyfish before?
I have not, and knock on wood, I want to keep that streak going.
I know, me too.
Before we get back into boat ramp etiquette, I have another little game. It's called Would You Rather.
Ooh,
Would you
okay.
rather launch in 20 knot crosswinds or 3 knot tidal current?
Um, Probably the tidal current. The
That's what I
winds
would
can
say.
get brutal.
Yeah. I feel like
Yeah, I don't
you'd
know.
never win against wind, but
Yeah,
a current, you can get your boat going against the current
against
and
it.
at
Yeah,
least maneuver against.
that's true. Mhm. That was a good one. That was tough. Both of
Yeah.
those were, like, not ideal.
Right. Exactly. Would you rather dock next to $1 million yacht or a crowded sandbar?
I would say dock next to the $1,000,000 yacht, number
That's my
1.
answer.
They have
Which
deckhands in their boat, so if there's any issues or I need help, I know there's people around. Where the
right.
crowded, beach, you're gonna have people looking at you like, "Let's, watch her try
S-
to do this."
So
Yeah,
my answer is similar. My answer was definitely the $1 million yacht because crowded sandbars. I'm just not big on crowds much anymore,
uh-huh.
and a crowded sandbar can be filled with people that might not know what they're doing
Yeah,
but the $1,000,000 yacht, you just might never know who you could meet. Like you're
that's
going to have
true.
their crew, they're going to have their
Yeah.
guests, and you might not know what kind of connection you can make and network, and you might
Mhm.
even get a tour of the yacht. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And it's a beautiful thing to sit next to and admire.
absolutely.
Mhm. And
So
you know
that's
what?
where my
It's kind of fun too. I'm wondering like who's in that yacht, is it someone
absolutely. We
famous?
I always play that game. It's like, okay, well, who so if there's like guests on board, then you play the game, okay, well, who owns the boat
Yeah. Yeah,
and
he
what's
looks
their
like the guy.
job?
It's so true. Yeah, we were in the British Virgin Islands a couple years ago, and there was a yacht that pulled up next to us at this marina, and it was, they had the crew and the whole below deck type of situation like that show, but
Yeah.
it was fun because it was beautiful, and you never know, yeah, who's in there.
Right, exactly. You might make friends with them and get asked to go on their next trip out, who knows?
Yeah,
I like
exactly.
to dream anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, would you rather navigate shallow tidal creeks or narrow desert canyons?
So, what's a desert cannon? Because 'Cause I'm not familiar with that. Okay.
A desert canyon, I'm guessing I've seen
Uh-huh.
videos where people will kayak through these canyons and they're out like, I had a
Oh,
friend who's traveling, and she just
okay.
did this, where they're
Yes.
like these caves, but instead of walking, it's water and you kayak through them.
Okay, yes, I've done that before and a jet ski in, Utah, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the lake. I don't even know why I'm drawing a blank. But yes, so the option would be to go through the narrow canyon, and then what was the other one?
Uh, a shallow tidal creek.
Shallow Tidal Creek. I guess it depends on what you're operating because
Right.
in the narrow canyon with the jet ski, I was trying to figure out where am I going to turn around to get out of this. And so there was a little bit of that
Okay.
to navigate, but I would probably go with that canyon.
That's that was mine only because it was something that I hadn't done before.
Uh-huh.
So I thought just for the sightseeing purposes
Uh-huh. It is
and
pretty
the
neat.
challenge. Yeah,
Mhm.
just for the
Yeah.
the challenge and the, sightseeing, the fact that I hadn't done it before, I thought that that would be
Mhm.
cool, but I would not want to do it alone.
No, I know. Yeah. You definitely it would be a two-man operation to get turned around and out of there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that would be my only stipulation. So if, like, I'm away on vacation and that's like a little, excursion, I would
Yeah.
sign up for it if as long as we went with a group.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're, like, imagining, like, the hills have eyes and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
am I
I
gonna
wanna
run
come
into?
back.
Yeah. So true.
And the last one is, would you rather deal with wind every day or tides every day?
I think I would rather deal with tides every day because I feel like although you can look both of them up and kinda get an idea of the wind, I feel like the tides they have that pretty set on the charts, so you know what to
Right,
expect. The
right.
winds, you can get gusts, the directions change, there's a lot
Mhm.
of variables with that.
I
Tides all day.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like you can plan more around the tides
Mhm,
than the wind. The wind can be so unpredictable,
mhm.
and it can be too windy to make it a comfortable boating day, where the
Yeah.
tides, once you know you can get out, then I feel like you're pretty good for the day, and you
Mhm.
just have to plan, for when you come back. I feel
Yeah.
like the wind, you don't win once it gets to a certain point.
No. Yeah, and the winds out here can get so bad because it's basically the desert, and so it's
Right,
kind of interesting because they say that I think it's March and April are pretty, hefty with the winds, and it's funny because they do Desert Storm every year in April, and it's always windy when they do the shootout. You always think, "Why don't they reschedule it for a different time?" Because or different date because of the wind, but you just you just pray that it's not too bad. I mean, they obviously won't do the shootout if it's too windy, but you
right,
ultimately want everybody to be safe that's trying to, achieve those top numbers.
right. Yeah, and they'll consult with everyone and kinda make it like a group. a group decision, which kind of leads us into our next topic for offering help. So, when you're at the boat ramp and you might see somebody struggling, when should you offer help?
So typically, in my situation, if I see somebody visibly attempting a maneuver a couple times, or you can just tell that they are struggling a little bit, I just, hey, you need a hand? Just casual. And then they'll say yes or no. Most of the time, they're like, yeah, that would be very helpful. And I learned that a lot because down on the river in Parker, there's a lot of floating bars. And there's been times where you pull up and there'll be good Samaritans that are just hanging out at the bar and they come and grab your line. And the thing that stuck with me was I'm always, grateful, like, thanks so much for your help. And, the one thing the guy had said was, it's just what we do. And I'm like, that's awesome. Right on. Because that's how it should be in the boating community. And so that stuck with
Absolutely.
me. And anytime I do see people that struggle, it's just, hey, let me help you. But most of the time, people are open to the help. So
I
it works.
agree. And it's funny that you said, the guy said, that's just what we do. We
Yeah.
were at a restaurant, I think about 2 weeks ago, and we have seen this gentleman numerous times. He comes over, he's always comes over. He has his boat filled with a bunch of people. I believe it's pretty much all family. They come
Okay.
over, they pretty much stay on their boat. They order drinks and food from a server comes down to the dock.
Oh, that's neat.
They'll walk the docks a little bit, but they, kinda just keep to themselves, but we've seen them so much, we've gotten talking to them a little bit. So this particular day, they were getting ready to leave, and my dad and I just kinda happened to be standing right there,
Uh-huh.
so the guy that owned the boat started to get out, and we're like, "No, stay in the boat, we'll get your lines," and he was like, "Oh, wow, thanks," and then the wife said, "Thank you so much, you guys are, like, so nice," and my dad, before I could even get anything out, he goes, "That's just what we do. That's what boaters do." Think we've covered it all? Not even close. Boat Ramp Etiquette Part 2 drops next week. Follow current conversations so you never miss an episode.